broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, good morning. Is everyone hearing?
We're hearing you now, Chris, yes.
Yep.
Yes. No.
It's the loss, I'm not seeing that. Hello?
Yeah, Chris, we're
Good
here.
morning.
Hi, Chris.
Okay. Okay, welcome everyone. Special good morning to our international audience from mostly sunny Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to the I Love TT webinar entitled an online conversation. I'm Christopher, the moderator for this morning's session. I'd also like to welcome our boss and the members of Angela Critchlow, Chairman of the African and Caribbean Board of Industry and Trade, ACBIT, who is joining us from Toronto. Nika Luke, General Manager of InvesTT, InvesTT. Danraj Hari Prasad, Manager, Export Market Research Center, Export TT, and Lisa Marie Daniel, General Manager, Fashion TT. Special thanks to the panel members who've been collaborating with us for some months as we prepare for this morning's webinar. This webinar was conceptualized by InvesTT, Export TT, and Creative TT, the Ministry of Trade and Industry. We are pleased that the African and Caribbean Board of Investment and Trade has agreed to be part of this initiative. It is our intent ultimately to facilitate a two-way process whereby we can provide an ongoing mechanism for the diaspora. Firstly, to interact with us in the furtherance of investment or trade opportunities. Secondly, to be provided with up-to-date relevant information, guidelines, and roadmaps for accessing services, volunteering, or doing business with Trinidad and Tobago. And lastly, for the diaspora to give us feedback and guidance as to how we can build a relationship with you, services and incentives that will be most impactful, recommended activities, and issues that you may have. A format during which time you message questions of your own or comment on the discussions through typing. We would receive your messages. You will also be polled during the webinar on relevant topics of interest. These polls will last about 20 minutes. At approximately 10:45 a.m., 15 minutes before the end, we'll be asking the panel selected questions drawn from your online 11. Panel members will give their 1-minute closing statements. After the webinar, all participants will be polled for more detailed feedback, and you'll receive a SurveyMonkey link via email. And you're kindly requested to complete the survey in the shortest possible time. The survey closes in 1 week. The question to the panel is, how should the Trinidad and Tobago diaspora outreach be organized? What lessons can we learn from other jurisdictions? And I'll ask Shamal to lead us off on the discussions.
Hi, Chris. Good morning to everybody who's listening in today. I think we have, and I'll start off by talking about what some examples are and the lessons that Trinidad and Tobago can learn. We have three very excellent examples of engagement of diaspora worldwide. We have Jamaica, and of a population of roughly 2 million, 1.3 million Jamaicans are actually diaspora abroad. So about 1/3 of their population. We have India that has 31 million diaspora. And Ireland, who, because of the fact that they count people with Irish ancestry as their diaspora, they have 80 million persons, even though the country is only 4 million persons. But each one of these countries has done an excellent job in terms of identifying programs that can engage with the diaspora. All three of them have immigration programs. Jamaica has the Global Immigration Card, which they launched in 2017. India has Overseas Indian Citizenship of India, which gives diaspora members all the rights of a citizen except for the owning of agricultural land. And then for Ireland, they have the Certificate of Irish Heritage, which does have immigration benefits to it. To look at, they all actually have conference, so once every 2 years, where there are basically 5 task forces. There's a Diaspora Education Task Force, a Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force, an Agriculture Task Force, a Technology Task Force, and an Immigration Deportation Prevention Task Force, because these are the issues that really affect the Jamaican diaspora. India has the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, which is a non-resident Indian one-day conference. During that, they give away the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman, which is an award to outstanding members of the diaspora. But it also allows for business people from the diaspora. It also has allows for scientists of Irish heritage to connect from all over the world. The Irish Technology Leadership Group, which puts IT persons or information technology persons from around the world together to allow them to collaborate, as well as the Global Irish Network, which is 350 influential Irish persons that bring together their expertise for the benefit of Ireland. So these are really great examples. Some benefits that we do provide to diaspora at the moment, but these types of ways of intervening to allow our business.
Everyone, I think that Trinidad and Tobago can consider in its attempts to reach out to the diaspora globally, to establish really strong working relationships with the High Commissioners and leaders in the country of destination, whether it's in Canada or any other location, to understand the network that is available in that particular country. In our work with the African and Caribbean Board of Industry and Trade, our primary link was with the High Commission here, who in turn put us in touch with InvesTT and others. And through that mechanism, we are able to opportunities based on the different geographic needs of a country, needing the ground, being able to have people through the High Commission, through the consular network, to bring localized needs and localized opportunities to Trinidad is a quick and easy way to effect and connect with the diaspora globally.
Thank you. I invite other members of the panel who may wish to add their remarks.
Okay, good morning, Dan. Yeah, so I think that Trinidad and Tobago is sort of in the early stages of developing, programs such as what Jamal raised in Jamaica and Ireland and India. And I think since we are in those initial stages, the focus really is on identifying who our members abroad in the diaspora, reach them. So I think it would be important to learn from those success stories in terms of how they went about that process. And if they utilize their foreign missions or how they generated this database of persons that they eventually worked with and were able to develop these programs that were mutually beneficial.
Raj, any other points to add, or can we move on to this second question?
No points to add. You can move on. Okay,
well, the second question is sort of related, and I'll ask Dr. Chandra Krishna to take the lead on that, is how best can we facilitate diaspora members who wish to return or contribute to Trinidad and Tobago?
Thanks very much, Chris. I think the best way to engage the diaspora, and I would like to use the example that occurred last year between InvesTT and the African Caribbean Board of Industry and Trade. We received very clear indications from InvesTT as to the areas that they were interested in exploring and areas in which they would. That allowed us to be able to go out and reach out to diaspora with very specific areas of interest. And we do have comments made earlier about how do we connect individuals, and it's amazing that once you have a clear definition of what areas the countries are looking for, it's very easy to get in touch with individuals here. We were able to put together a week of engagements for InvesTT based on their stipulated needs, and brought together organizations that range from healthcare, education, IT, innovation labs, and hubs. So it's really critical that InvesTT or Export TT have very clear ideas about what they would like to be able to do, what sort of partnerships they would want, which would allow an organization like ours to be able to reach out in a targeted way and build connections here for organizations in Trinidad. And I think that model could be replicated in different provinces, apart from just Ontario, and all coordinated, through your local group and our High Commission and Councillor Core here as well.
Thank you, Dr. Chandra Krishna. Would someone from the panel like to add comments?
Hi, Chris. Yes, Shamal here. I would say that in adding to Dr. Chandra Krishna's point, that of course having clarity of message, it leads into the just general ability to communicate effectively. So the other two factors that I would say are really important is one, ensuring that there is effective follow-through once the members of the diaspora do contact us, so that having clearly identified persons that they can contact, so they know that if there is any sort of investment opportunity, that they really should contact InvesTT. And if there is anything to do with film, that it really should go to Film TT. So knowing who the effective channel is to allow for proper follow-through would be definitely another really critical way that we can effectively contribute to the diaspora being better aware of the opportunities.
Okay. One of the points, of course, we have in this type of webinar is the first for Trinidad and Tobago that I can recall, is people want to know, okay, I have an interest in coming to Trinidad and Tobago, investing or doing business. What opportunities are there out there for me? So I'll ask Nika to lead off on that question. What investment, trade, or business opportunities are there available now to the diaspora, and how can they access them?
Okay, good morning, everyone, and good morning to all listening in. I think from the film perspective, the film sector in Trinidad and Tobago has certainly been in development for some time, and there have been, I think now more than ever, opportunities to contribute and to invest in what is taking place. Information provided after will give a sense of the history, but I think at this point, I think it's fair to say that the diaspora is untapped as an audience. I would say as consumers of the content that is coming out of Trinidad and Tobago. There's been nearly 80 films produced in Trinidad and Tobago in the last 50 or so years, but that content isn't necessarily reaching audiences. And so we do hope that through something like this, an outreach like this, we're able to connect content to audiences. But in terms of investment on the film side of things, I think direct investment in films and the production of local content is certainly key. In the research that we've done and in the strategic planning we've done in the last couple of years, there's really some key gaps in the film industry value chain, and one of those is direct investment in content. There is interest in our content. Our films, a handful of our films have screened in festivals and cinemas all over the world, I would say, in about the last 5 years, and that interest continues to increase. So significantly, from a first sort of obvious perspective, opportunities to invest directly in content, I think, is a first step. Investing in training for Trinidad and Tobago's producers specifically, I think, is another area that's important. We have a lot of diaspora who are working in the film industry in various ways. And while training in all aspects is important, we're looking specifically at the question of producers, because the producers are the ones who are going to increase the business side of a production. So looking at a production as business as opposed to just creative impetus. And so looking at opportunities to train up Trinidad and Tobago's producers to be able to take the great ideas that exist here in terms of local content and turn them into productions that will reach the widest audiences possible for as to promote Trinidad and Tobago as a location would also be important. So for the last, I would say, 12 years or so, FilmTT has been working to promote Trinidad and Tobago as a location in a highly competitive locations business internationally, to promote Trinidad and Tobago as a location for all kinds of content, commercials, feature-length content, TV series, and one-off episodes. We offer a number of generous incentives, and I think if there are persons who are placed in ad agencies, production companies, etc., if they can support the extension of our marketing reach so that Trinidad and Tobago gets on the radar of brands, of production companies, etc., I think that would be another investment, let's say more so of time than necessarily financial resources. So that, I think, on the film side of things are the three areas I would look at: financial investment in local content, investment in training specifically for Trinidad and Tobago producers, and being ambassadors to promote Trinidad and Tobago as a location, which can have a wider return on investment for Trinidad and Tobago as a country.
Thank you very much, Nika. I'll turn to Danraj, if you could share from the export standpoint, what opportunities make this?
Okay, well, coming up for our former project, Fit for Europe project, where we actually took a number of our small service providers and manufacturers across the 3 European markets. It was the UK, France, and Netherlands. And what was surprising to me is that these small firms, when compared to firms in those markets, they shared similar challenges and similarities in terms of their structure and stuff like that. And it was also surprising of how well they sort of meshed together and were able to work together on things. So I'm thinking joint ventures between small companies from Trinidad and Tobago and from the diaspora markets is a huge opportunity for us to kind of come together to create new products and to also market our products in both markets. So the companies who are located in the diaspora markets, they would have access to Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean, where perhaps our exporters are selling to, as well as our exporters will have access to the diaspora markets and the clients that their partners would have. So I think there's huge potential in that. And another area, a lot of our exporters have been trying to get into is online sales in particular the US market. And one of the major issues they're having with that is the ability to deliver in an expected time frame that is sort of popularized by Amazon 2-day shipping or 4-day max. So when an order comes in, our Trinidad and Tobago manufacturers have to go through a third party, and it often takes a long time to reach our consumer. And in this day and age, that's something that doesn't fly. So we're thinking about, they were thinking about actually having like warehousing facilities or agents who could get the products out when they are ordered within that sort of time frame. So that's an opportunity for members of the diaspora who could provide those sort of services or facilities to work with our exporters, particularly on sales.
To drive business development. And in doing so, what we do is that we essentially have a series of mentoring and training programs for our designers within the fashion community. Within the Trinidad and Tobago fashion industry right now, it's a burgeoning industry. There's no end to creativity and skill, and our role essentially is to support designers from the business development standpoint and from the export activity standpoint. The opportunities I would see for diaspora is essentially that right now we are seeking skills globally and regionally for assistance to support 3 of our. So I will just briefly explain what that means in terms of our mentoring and training tiers and what the value chain investment program is that we have. It's a 4-tier program. It comprises of a basic training tier, which will train designers across the whole year in terms of courses with respect to business plans, marketing strategy, costing and pricing, business entrepreneurship. The other tier above that is the business advisory tier for designers who already have their business model in place, however, need a little bit more support in terms of getting financing, understanding cash flow management, and all the other fundamentals of that, which is the third to top tier, is the non-global value chain tier, whereby you're advanced, you have a bit, but you just need the support in terms of penetrating foreign markets, markets which are best aligned with the aesthetic and markets which have the buying power to purchase accordingly. So we have all of these tiers functioning right now. The non-global has already started in 2017. We're now on to the 2nd year. We already are in partnership with NEDCO, who is in the process of meeting with designers within the business advisory tier. In January next year, we are running the full suite of courses tier. And what is crucially needed now, which we're going to be issuing a request for proposals within the next 2 weeks, is essentially a consultant who could work with the designers who I just mentioned in terms of assessing them, studying their business, and aligning them to these markets.
Lisa?
Yes, hi, Chris? You hearing me? Chris?
Yeah, so it has sort of broken. Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay.
So you're looking to work with designers.
Right. So the consultant who we're going to choose to work within the GVC tier, essentially that consultant is going to have to assess the 3 designers, and they are going to be required to go to the missions with these designers, which would encompass going on trade missions to meet manufacturing facility partners, sourcing textiles, having B2B meetings with buyers, customers, and big retailers. So that is a big ticket item right now that we are going to be advertising within the next 2 weeks. And of course, we're going to be providing it to InvesTT, of course, to share on the I Love TT for members. So in being on our newsletter list, they can just let us know and add their email address through. And because it is that we're very strong and globally with us with respect to any of the elements within the value chain, they can email us at info@fashiontt.co.tt. Another big ticket project that we have in the works that we're going to essentially be launching in Tobago. We are anticipating 30% processes in terms of the logistics coordinator perhaps would happen by mid next year to the end of next year. It is that the European is realized. But if there's any who's interested, you can email us. Fashion TT has a website, www.fashionttt.co.tt. We have a fashion showcase page with highlights in excess of 100 designers and links each. It has basically a slot for each designer, and each slot links each designer's website and social media page. And you can see the suite of what our designers offer. You can also engage in commerce with them via direct message over their social media. If they have a website, perhaps you can do that as well via the website. But I'll just encourage, everyone to act as brand ambassadors for our TNT fashion industry. We have a lot of good talent here, and we just want to really come and spread it to the world.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. Let me ask Shamal for briefly into of the investment opportunities that may arise right now from InvesTT.
Sure thing, Chris. So InvesTT, of course, we are the National Investment Promotion Agency, and as part of a broad range of sectors at the opportunity level. So in terms of sectors, we're focused on the creative industries in partnership with Creative TT, that would be Film TT and Fashion TT, and their sister agency, Music TT. And in that particular sector, we're looking at a film studio. So we would have actually done a sort of pre-feasibility study or an investment opportunity profile on the development of a creative cluster in Trinidad and Tobago, centering the film studio as the hub for a number of the creatives in the country to work out of. In the maritime services space, we're focused on things like transshipment of goods. Trinidad and Tobago has the Gulf of Paria, which is the largest naturally occurring stillwater harbor in the Western Hemisphere, and we're able to utilize that to transship goods across the world that are coming out of Latin America. In agribusiness, we're focused very heavily on cocoa and pepper and really moving up the value chain. So rather than just simply growing beans, moving towards making chocolate, using the pepper, extracting the capsaicin oil, which is the hotness of the pepper, and using that to make products like anti-fouling paint for boats. That may also be used in pepper spray. So even exporting the capsaicin oil, which is an area of immense growth for Trinidad and Tobago. We're looking at things like data centers, software development and design, and also information technology enabled services, businesses, customers throughout the globe. So in ICT, through our Tamina Intech Park, which is located in the east of Trinidad and Tobago, which will be the hub for ICT businesses in the country, we really want to encourage ICT businesses to look at investment opportunities here. We're also looking at things like financial services through our sister agency, Trinidad and Tobago International Financial Center. We look at tourism opportunities. InvesTT is responsible for tourism, so we look at bricks and mortar, that's greenfield development of hotels, brownfield, that is the redevelopment of existing hotel properties, as well as the amenities that surround the tourism industry. And then, of course, the meat and potatoes of what the Trinidad and Tobago investment opportunities are in manufacturing. Trinidad and Tobago leads the Caribbean when it comes to consumer and beverage, printing and packaging, consumer items. But we'd like to leverage that expertise that we have developed in manufacturing to move into other areas, more high skilled. So the merger of the information and communication technology sector with manufacturing. And once again, we have 20 lots of land available at Tamina Intech Park that are ready to accept any sort of high-tech manufacturing businesses that are looking to locate in Trinidad and Tobago. Of course, we have 3 cents per kilowatt hour energy. Anything that is particularly robust it would benefit immensely from coming to Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay, great. Thanks, Shamal. I'll pause here to, you saw some polling questions came up on the screen, so I'd just like to give some of the responses. Have you heard of the companies before? 83% knew of InvesTT, 78% ExportTT, 50% CreateTT, and 11% Adbit. So we all have some work to do in terms of spreading our existence on the services that we provide. Are you satisfied with the information currently available on investment to trade or business opportunities? 31 yes, 69% no. So there's a great gap that exists right now in terms of information about trade and investment opportunities. And hopefully, arising out of this webinar, we could more consistent flow of information to the diaspora. Are you currently seeking opportunities in trade and investment? 64% said yes, 36% said no. So the interest is there. I would learn from the audience because they're coming fast and furious. So the first question for diaspora is at the current Trinidad and Tobago. How can we currently address this concern? To start off the link between crime and investment, and is it an issue?
Safe place to live and invest and business. We do have a lot of local media that we do, in fact, actually related affecting particular pockets of the country. And InvesTT also provides a site selection service that we actually work with investors to help them find the right sites for their business. So to really work with persons to make sure that they are safe and secure as much as possible in investing in Trinidad and Tobago. When you look at the overall sort of general crime statistics, Trinidad and Tobago are some of the America and the Caribbean. We are actually over time to address some of the crime situation statistics and bring those down and really.
I would like that. Okay. Yeah, but just to summarize, I mean, just after 2 days ago or yesterday, we saw what was happening in the United States in a bar. So it's something that really affects us worldwide. So it's kept our minimum. That it doesn't affect the investor, that we take the necessary people on scale. we have improvements, but yes, but we better, and we trying as best as we have a new Minister of National Security. The government is making crime #1 priority is hope better. I'm starting to take the audience questions a little early because I would like to address them as best as we can during the session. Would it make sense to use the Trinidad and Tobago embassies as a first stage? The embassies tend to know the diaspora and can host seminars to present this initiative. So, throw it out to the panel. Who would like to go first?
This is Catherine, and I'd like to take a stab at that, please.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's very important to use, let's say in the case of Canada, the High Commission, because in our provinces, we have very different needs. And in meeting with InvesTT last year, we recognized that there were opportunities that Invest can tap into in the area of manufacturing and industry as it pertains to the energy sector and so on, which will be best addressed in Calgary, not in Toronto. And if it's healthcare or financial services, it'll be best for Toronto. So I think going through the High Commission and our Council Generals here helps Trinidad to be able to make the right types of visits to different provinces to be best aligned to where there are immediate business opportunities with the diaspora. And should I point out, it's not just the diaspora that is interested in investment and opportunities with Trinidad. It's friends of the diaspora who have significant opportunities to contribute and are interested in doing so. So Trinidad can cast its net much more widely if it goes through the central point of the High Commission and the councillors and bring organizations like the Board of Trade to the table that can, in turn, bring the opportunities directly to invest and export to be able to assess where the opportunities might be.
I'm glad.
Chris, if I could chime in as well?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Sama.
So yes, of course, InvesTT has established a significant working relationship with the embassies abroad because InvesTT, unlike a lot of investment promotion agencies in the world, does not actually have foreign offices. So the opportunity for us to engage on a regular basis is to actually use our embassies and consulates and honorary consuls to spread the message of what investment opportunities are in fact available. We actually do tend to, whenever we meet in or whenever we travel to a location that has embassy or a consulate, etc., we actually try to engage with the diaspora in that. So if we go to Miami, we do a little cocktail reception in partnership with the consulate to reach out to diaspora members. And we will continue to do that and continue to do our best to make sure that the missions abroad serve as a symbiotic partner in accessing the diaspora.
Hi, Chris, Nika here.
Yes,
Just like to jump in.
Yes, quickly, we want to move on to a few other questions.
Sure. So I'll just, from the film side of things, I'll just add that we have been engaging the missions, and certainly they've been engaging us, which is great, to extend to Film TT opportunities for stakeholders to apply to film festivals in their regions. So in India, in China, in Nigeria, we've had some discussions with the missions around potential investment and locations opportunities for producers who are interested in shooting in this region. So we'd certainly like to work more closely with any of the 19 missions that exist to act as that arm for us in terms of finding film opportunities, not just on the development side for filmmakers, but also locations opportunities for Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, sure. No, it's very vital, a very valid question, and we do recognize the value of the missions, and we do use them, perhaps more than we should, but we have to, because they are our eyes and ears abroad, whether it's in New York or in Toronto or in Africa or in England or so. So it's very important to achieve our objectives as a country that we connect with the foreign missions. So I have an interesting question here. How can international investors in various industries be assured that the same low level of labor practices and output levels that they're accustomed to will be replicated in Trinidad and Tobago? Investors are usually provided third-party information around this concern, which is not necessarily true or justified. So the question is of quality assurance in terms of the labor supply and the labor market. It's open to everyone on the panel.
Well, Chris, that's something that we have to do a lot in terms of providing information to investors. We have to look at what the relevant labor information is to that person's particular business. So what InvesTT generally does is we do collect a lot of primary information regarding labor and qualifications and quality, for the particular sector. We've done it in the information and communications sector. We'll do it in manufacturing as well. We're looking at regional labor studies as well to understand, once again, what specific skills are available and at what quality level. We do our best to provide the most honest and up-to-date information possible to investors, and really allow the investors to put that into their models and understand how it affects their bottom line. There is a lot of training that goes on and a lot of skills development that's sponsored at the tertiary level by the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and that persons seek out on their own. So there are really a lot of high-quality skills available in Trinidad and Tobago. We also see it when our labor goes out there into international markets. They're very in demand. We have Trinidad and Tobago engineers really active all across the world. So we know that the quality is absolutely there, and we have had a number of success stories in terms of investment into Trinidad, where the quality of our labor has been highlighted. So I think, just to sum that up, basically providing the most honest and up-to-date information is the role of InvesTT and of the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and then allowing the investors to really put that into their models and understand how labor will impact their overall operation.
The takeaway I'd like to emphasize to our webinar audience here is that, investors make decisions based on information. And the role of InvesTT and Fashion TT and Play TT, Music TT and Film TT is to provide accurate data to that potential investor so that they can make decisions based on sound principles or research. So what we are advised, if you know of any investors, potential investors who are looking to come to Trinidad, come talk to one of the agencies here present, and we will try to, if we don't have the information readily available, we will do the research to get that data so you can make a sound investment decision. Another interesting question. Great that we, the diaspora, are invited to invest. What is the potential return on investment? That's a trick question that I love. And I'll throw it out to the panel. Why invest in Trinidad and Tobago? What return will we get for it?
I can take a first stab at that. Of course, when we're talking about investing in Trinidad and Tobago, we're talking about the myriad of opportunities that really pertain to persons that have expertise or working in those fields, as well as financial investors. So we're really casting a wide gamut of what opportunities are. It includes both what is currently available as opportunities or projects that are proposed by the diaspora. Each one of those would have a different return on investment. In Trinidad and Tobago, the standard model of looking at projects is investors are looking for a return of about 15%. And so when we are putting together our investment opportunity profiles, we're trying to aim for around a 15% return. But that's really a very loose guide. It's going to depend on the project itself and on the resilience or the need of the investor. Are they looking for a long-term return, short-term return? And that's really something that, once again, we work with the specific investor on the specific opportunity to make sure that that is very clear at the investment level.
Okay, anyone else would like to add from the panel comments on this topic of return on investment?
Well, what I'd like to add is that from a goods or services perspective, in terms of setting up a manufacturing plant for sale, it's not just the Trinidad and Tobago market. You have access to Trinidad's party to the CARICOM agreement, and there are also a number of trade agreements that we have through CARICOM with a number of Central American and Latin American countries. So you actually have access to a much larger market than the population of Trinidad and Tobago should you choose to invest here.
Okay. I'll just make this a little note for the audience as well. I did not refer to it before. If you see on the webinar screen, there's something called handouts. If you click on that, you will see 5 handouts, which gives a little bit of background information about the agencies present, as well as the African and Caribbean Board of Investment and Trade, and some of the opportunities that we spoke about or services that we provide. They are listed in those handouts, so you're free to download and save it for your own use later on. I have a quick question here for Catherine from someone who wants to know how to get in touch with the diaspora in Calgary. I don't know if you could assist.
We continue to work, Chris, with the different council generals to be able to understand which agencies have been in touch with them. Our organization reached out to the councillor office and to the High Commission. And in that way, we were able to be put in touch with different groups here. I would recommend that that sort of outreach be done again. Each province has a sense of the different organizations working to help boost partnerships between Canada, a particular province, and the Caribbean, and in our case in Africa as well. I would strongly recommend going through the High Commission office and the Councillor Corps, find out which organizations have been in touch with them locally. That is usually a very good start, because if there's a strong diaspora presence in that location, they would be organized around some local group in that area. It's the same thing in Ontario, and that's how we became involved in our work with Invest.
Okay then, thank you, Catherine. Question on a slightly different area, intellectual property rights. Can you elaborate as to which arm of government is responsible for creating the appropriate ecosystem for intellectual property rights in Trinidad and Tobago or the wider Caribbean?
That's an easy one, Chris. It's the Intellectual Property Office.
And they have a website?
They do have a website. If somebody else wants to chime in, I will go online and look for it right now.
Sure, no problem. So we'll share that information for the person who asked the question. We'll send you, because we have your name, so we'll send you the information directly. Okay, I'll go back to some of the questions which we had planned before. This is a simple one. Well, actually, because we're watching the time, we have about 5 minutes. After this webinar, what are the recommended next steps for continued engagement? And I'll turn to Lisa Marie Daniel to lead us off on that.
Well, we would like to encourage all participants in terms of attendees of the seminar, if they haven't joined already, if they can join the I Love TT LinkedIn page, which is managed by InvesTT. If they can basically look at all the handouts that's attached to this webinar, and basically look at all the websites that are affects each organization, and basically understand what each organization does. And if you have any interest, you can send us direct emails. Our contacts are there as well. We will also be doing bi-weekly newsletters highlighting the projects and events within each industry. So if you have an interest in terms of being on that list, send us a message and let us know, and we would add you. And thereafter, essentially, we would like to have a webinar once per quarter, and we'd like to encourage you to be on again and to encourage your friends and family to come back on again.
Anyone else on the panel? Dan Raj?
Yeah, I would recommend that for those of you who are interested in, getting Trinidad and Tobago products or distributing or in a joint venture with one of our manufacturers, that you get in contact with InvesTT. It's worth checking out our website to see all the products and services we offer to our exporters, so you get a sense of sort of activities that we engage in. We do have a very good relationship with most of our exporters and liaise with them regularly, so we have a sense of what they're trying to do in the market. So if we get a sense of what your interest area is, we could match you guys together, put you together and see, you know, what can happen in terms of business. So please reach out to us and let us know what you're interested in, and then we can see who may be the right partner for you, and we'll put them in contact.
Catherine, you wanted to jump in?
Yes, please. Thanks, Chris. I would recommend that anybody interested in doing business in Ontario be in touch with our High Commissioner's office as well as with our Councillor office in Toronto. That way we have a clear sense of what the need is, and the key major representation in the country is linked into our government level here in terms of international trade as well. And that allows us to be able to, again, reach out very quickly to identify strategic partners that we can bring to the table for export TT or invest, but being mindful of what opportunities might exist even outside of the diaspora. So my suggestion is to go through the High Commission and our Councillor Co-office here.
Yes, sure. Thank you, Catherine. Shama?
Yeah, I would encourage people to really visit our website as well, www.invest.co.tt, and look at some of the opportunities that are available there. You know, as a call to action, I would really say that we are very happy to speak with any diaspora member or the general public at large about investment opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago, and helping to refine those and define exactly what they would like to do. So really the important next step is for them to get in contact with us so that we can start to develop projects.
Okay, would anyone else like to add comments into the next steps before we move on?
Chris, Nika here. I'll just outside of things in the brochure that Lisa Marie mentioned, but certainly in terms of the diaspora, in the local content that's being created, but also to engage in different ways. And so I would say, because we are early in the process of executing, I would say, our strategic plan, we're open to conversations about opportunities and where they could lead. So the three areas I mentioned, I think, is a first step. But certainly get in touch with us if any of these areas of interest, and we are open to a conversation about shaping the right opportunity for meaningful involvement of the diaspora in developing the Trinidad and Tobago film industry.
Okay, we had an audience poll question earlier. Do you think a Diaspora Conference hosted in Trinidad and Tobago would be useful? 100% said yes. So I think that is something that we could safely recommend going forward to the relevant authorities. This sort of leads us to another interesting question. How do these great ideas come together for action? And what policy will government give to support this trust and to engage in the diaspora? Open to the panel.
I would say from the diaspora that's in the Ontario area, there are many great ideas, and there's a lot of interest in the diaspora here supporting Trinidad and Tobago, whether it's in Trinidad or in this region. I think the real opportunity in making these ideas come to fruition is understanding the investment network, the support in establishing a partnership in Trinidad, understanding who could be involved in structuring the deal and ensuring that we are aware of any regulatory, legal, or other factors that need to be considered. That piece is key for investors coming in and people looking for strategic partnerships with organizations in Trinidad.
Yes. Anyone comments? Shamal, I know you're afraid to answer the question, but I'll put you on the spot. What sort of recommendations would you suggest would be appropriate?
Sir, can you repeat the full question again, Chris? You're breaking up a little bit for me.
The question is, ideas come together for action. And what policy will government give to support this trust and to engage in the diaspora?
Sure. Well, I think that diaspora is definitely front of mind for the government. They have established a number of mechanisms by which to sort of look at that framework. I think a lot of it is really dependent on our engagement with the diaspora, the survey that we're doing, and the type of information that we are empirically gathering on the needs and the wants of the diaspora, because that would best inform how policy is set. I think it's really important to engage first to understand what the diaspora's needs are before we actually go about doing policy. So I think that's the phase that we're in right now. And based upon diaspora's feedback, we will then be recommending something that's relevant to the needs of our diaspora.
Okay, fully understand. I have a question here which seems it didn't say specifically, but I guess from reading it, it's about the fashion industry. I understand the idea to penetrate foreign markets, however, local market in terms of, for example, how Italian brands penetrate their own market first. So I'll ask Lisa Marie to lead off on that.
Chris, you broke up a little bit there. Can you repeat the question?
The question is in terms of fashion industry and promoting fashion.
Right.
The member of the audience understands the need to idea to penetrate foreign markets. However, they're concerned with what is being done to penetrate the local market first. And the example being used is the Italians, how they do it in terms of promoting the Italian brands in Italy as a goal in itself before they actually look outside.
Right. Okay. Well, that is a good question. Right now, within our Trinidad and Tobago fashion industry, we have in excess of 200 designers. And, we are not taking the emerging designers or the intermediate designers and making them or pushing them into penetrating foreign markets. The project that we're doing right now, which is the global value chain, is essentially we're using the 3 most advanced designers who would have gone through the rigor of our value chain investment program in order to move forward to the foreign market. So what I'm saying here is that we have designers at various levels, and the ones who are still at the emerging and intermediate stage, we are still working with them with respect to mentoring them from the business development standpoint and working with them with respect to penetrating the local market efficiently and working with local retail outlets. The designers who are the top of the tier has already plateaued this in terms of the local market and are able to efficiently cater to the local market. They've gone through an interview process with an external international panel comprising of Fashion Institute of Technology New York experts, and they have deemed them to be ready for export.
Okay, great. Well, we have about 2 minutes left of this webinar, so I'll ask you, I'll cut down your time from 1 minute to 30 seconds to give me sort of closing comments, members of the panel. You're free to lead off, whoever would like to start.
Well, it is certainly a pleasure to sit on this panel this morning, and I hope that I was able to explain exactly what we do right now for the fashion industry and how the diaspora can get more involved. At this point, a good starting point would be for the diaspora members to visit our website, www.fashiont.co.tt, to get a full idea in terms of what local fashion looks like, what projects we are currently managing, and how to contact us. So, and once you send us an email, we will respond to you within 24 hours or less, and we certainly look forward to doing business with you.
Okay, Danraj?
Okay, so diaspora markets are target for us, and it has been included in our work plans for, I would say, the last 2 years or so, and it seems to be in our plans for most of in the future, definitely. So we're going to continue our work in those markets. We've done Canada before. We have some work that's coming up in Florida, and we'd really like the sort of input from the diaspora and the assistance as well to penetrate those markets. So if you're interested in getting involved in terms of the import of these products or the distribution of these products, or if you're engaging in certain services and you think that there's certain expertise that exists in Trinidad and Tobago, as Shamal highlighted some of our sectors of focus, that we're developing as well, please bring it to our attention so we can identify the necessary service providers for you all. But please check out our website, www.exportt.co.tt, for more information about what we can do. And please get in contact with me so that we could start discussing a few things about how you could assist and we could possibly assist you.
Okay, thank you, Dana. Catherine, closing remarks?
I think that there's huge potential between what is defined by Invest and Export TT for opportunities between Trinidad and Tobago and other jurisdictions, and organizations like the ACBIT are prepared to help. We are working with the High Commission. We are in touch with the Consul General's office. So reach out to us and let's bring those solutions to you as you might need them.
Sure, thank you. Shamal?
Hi, yes. We really love hearing from the diaspora, and the more information that we get from the diaspora, the better able we are to service their needs. So we really encourage members of the diaspora to keep on getting in contact with us, providing us your feedback, letting us know what your needs and your wants are, so that we can be your advocates into the government of Trinidad and Tobago and have your needs really met. I'd also encourage everybody to reach out to our initiative, I Love TT, on our various social media handles. So at LinkedIn, it's at I Love TT, and we also have, I believe, an Instagram and a Facebook page.
Okay,
and of course, you can reach out to us.
I have to quickly ask Nika to give a closing comment.
Sure, it's an exciting time to be involved in the film industry right now. With limited infrastructure over years, there's been a lot of great films and that have been produced and that's gaining interest with audiences internationally. And I think if we can start to share that content with diaspora, it'll not only open up opportunities for producers to find more audiences, but also more investment opportunities into that content. Again, on the location side of things, we're gaining more and more interest. We've had, just this week, we have a big production in Trinidad and Tobago that will be out early next year. And we're hoping to see more and more of those kinds of productions that can help put us on the map. So looking forward to engaging with the diaspora on these issues. All of our information is in the brochure attached to the webinar.
Okay, great. Thanks. So with that, I bring the webinar to a close. The final polling question was this webinar useful to you? 95% said yes. So we thank you and we look forward to the second edition. Have a good day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.